So Riley, failures don't define you, but it helps you helps shape you in a way. So PBKS, have not made the playoffs this season, but I'm sure there must be learnings for you and the team as a whole. Can you let us know if there were any this season?
Yeah, I think obviously, first of all, it hasn't been our season, the one that we wanted. We've come so close on a number of games, but unfortunately, we just couldn't cross that line of the win. I think it was about 4 or 5 games where we finished in the last over, and so there's definitely a lot of learnings when it comes to that, and the learnings of being disappointed of getting so close but not crossing the line. I mean, it's going to hurt, and it's something that the boys will remember, and obviously that feeling of failure, just getting so close to failing, is something that is a feeling that we do not like and we do not want to experience again.
Has happened a lot to Punjab Kings as well,
and it happened quite a bit this season.
Yes.
So I mean, we can only just try and do our very best, and hopefully the result will then take care of itself.
Okay, so Riley, talking about your cricketing career, you have been like a cricketing gypsy and you've played all around the globe. So I'm sure, like in other leagues, and then when you compare it to the IPL, there will be glaring differences, or maybe some differences that you want to be incorporated into the IPL, or something that you would like to see in other leagues. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think just starting off, I think the IPL is probably the most like iconic T20 league in the world. It's the biggest. It's definitely one that's like the most well supported. There's not a lot that the IPL can take from other leagues because it's doing everything so well. It's just, it's phenomenal. I think the IPL stands alone when it comes to T20 leagues.
Okay. And this has been a very different season in a way that pitches have been so batter friendly, and every other match we have seen a 200 plus score. So do you see yourself aligning with the idea of T20 cricket being this slam bang, or do you like a more even contest where the bowlers even have a say on the day?
I think the approach of the batsman this year has been a fearless one, especially with the substitution rule, the impact player. I think that does make a bit of a difference. Not so much, but I mean, we have seen that this year, the way the wickets are good and the boundaries are small, is that the batsmen have got zero fear. It's not a case where I want to see a bit more evenly matched. I think it is still very evenly matched. I mean, they brought in a rule where the bowlers can bowl 2 bounces and over. So if you've got that pace and that fearlessness of bowling that second bouncer, where we've seen like a guy like Gerald Coetzee has been taking a lot of wickets with the shorter ball. So there is still that evenly matched contest, I feel, of bowler and batsman. It's just about executing that skill. And I think if you take away that impact player, I think it'll be more fairly like suited to both sides.
Okay, so you want it to go out, or is it like just you think that it may make it more even?
No, I think if I had a choice, I would take it away. But
Okay.
I'm not the BCCI, and I don't make the decisions.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So now, as you were saying, a batter is it's very different now. A batter is now expected to score in every match, and the conditions are also such. So, what kind of benchmarks and expectations does a T20 batter set for himself?
Yeah, I think it's not a case that you are expected to score every match. I mean, that's not going to happen unless you're Virat Kohli. But I think it's one where you want to make an impact as much as you can in every single match, whether that be just facing 5 balls for 10 runs, as long as that strike rate's nice and high and you're making an impact on the game. I mean, that's what the coaches, I think, are looking at nowadays, instead of someone that just bats through and have a strike rate of 130. If you can get 6 or 7 guys striking at close to 200, I mean, you're always putting up a competitive total, and that's kind of where cricket has evolved to and gone towards, and that's probably where maybe the bowlers have been left behind, because the batsmen are always wanting to do better and strike better, and the bowlers, instead of trying to maybe think ahead, where I'm saying not all of the bowlers, but some of the bowlers have been left behind with regard to that, because not not thinking ahead of what they need to do to execute or to plan ahead of the game where the batsmen are taking the game forward.
The thing you said, I think this is what you meant when you said talked about the see ball, hit ball ideology when you stepped in when made that partnership with Bairstow against CSK. So, are you the kind of batter who would love to see how the situation is and react according to match situations, get your eye in, or would you like to go all out from the first ball itself when it comes to T20?
I think where I talk about see ball, hit ball is just keeping it simple. It's not a figure of speech of I literally go whack every single ball that you see. No, it's one of just keeping it simple, watch the ball and play the ball on its merit, but still also having that positive approach of if it's in my area, it needs to go for 6.
Yes. Okay. So now moving on from the IPL for a bit. You scored the first 100 in the T20 World Cup last year, in 2022, sorry. And this time when the squad was announced, not finding your name there, how did you react to it when the list came out?
Yeah, I think as my maturity where I am right now, obviously I'm disappointed, but it's not gonna knock me down because I mean I've done so much in my career already, and obviously I'm disappointed, but it's not my be all end all to represent South Africa in a World Cup. Obviously I would love to. Was disappointed when the squad was announced. I thought I put in some serious performances for South Africa leading up to it, but unfortunately, I mean, the selectors and the coach and the captain probably wanted to go a different direction. I mean, that's I can't argue with that. That's if they see it that way, then so be it.
Okay, so you have obviously looked at the squad, and what do you figure are South Africa's chances in the T20 World Cup this year?
Yeah, look, I think in like every single team out there, I think every team has got a good chance. I think South Africa is always one of those teams that are underlooked when it comes to World Cups. I feel like we've got a fantastic squad. We've got a great chance. We've got a very good bunch of guys. We've got guys that are in form at the moment. And I can really just hope and wish that they actually bring the World Cup back this year.
Wonderful. And I would like to know that if you have seen much of Ryan Rickelton, the wicketkeeper batter, who looks a lot like Quinton when he plays. Like I've seen videos and all, he looks a lot like Quinton when he plays, and obviously, like the commentators also say the same. I'd like to know more about him if you have seen much of it.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen much about him. I've only seen him a little bit in the SA20. I don't know his like personality or his batting or anything, so I can't really make a comment on that.
Okay, and how volatile T20 has become these days. What does the word consistency mean now to a batter?
Look, I think deep down, every batter still wants to be consistent in what he does, even though T20 is evolved into one of making more of an impact than actually consistently score runs, as I mentioned earlier. But I think every batter deep down inside still wants to be consistent in making an impact when it comes to T20 cricket. So it's still there. I mean, we still work hard at training. We still do our very best on the field. But whether it comes off, it doesn't come off, I think that's where the trick comes in with confidence of a batsman, of just keeping on that positive mindset of making impact in cricket.
Okay, fair enough. And how do these cricketing leagues like the IPL help in picking the brains of other sports persons? Like you wouldn't get the opportunity to talk to anybody if it had been some other international cricket or somewhere. But in leagues, you get to speak to so many people. How does that help a cricketer?
It's a huge impact on a player, like being in different conditions, being with different teammates, being in a different country, learning the conditions of that country. Like it goes unspoken about how much of an impact it can actually be playing in different leagues. And not just that from a cricketing perspective, but as a human being and learning their cultures and their what they stand for and their structures can also it improves you as well. So it's phenomenal to have. It's one where it's an experience where I have thoroughly enjoyed playing in different leagues, and one that I'm very grateful for that I could have experienced that. So if I had any advice, if I could give out any advice for any youngsters out there, I would. If you've got the opportunity to go and experience cricket around the world, not just from a cricketing perspective, but also from like a lifestyle perspective, I would with both hands, because you will only benefit from playing in different countries.
Okay. That was a very nice answer. And moving on to the next question, if you were asked to analyze the PBK's campaign this year, where do you think things started going wrong? Whether it was the bowling or, not settling in on a batting lineup. Maybe they got to a settled batting lineup later in the later half of the campaign. What do you think went wrong?
Look, I mean, I think there's a lot of different things that we do well at particular stages, whether it be bowling or batting or even in the field. But no one means to make mistakes. I feel like the loss of Shikhar Dhawan with his injury also definitely had an impact on us as a franchise and as an IPL team. That played a big role. I mean, that's losing your most senior player in the side, your captain of the side. So that's definitely impacted us. But in saying that, we've played really good cricket at times. And we were mentioned earlier, we spoke about those 4 or 5 games where we lost in the over. I mean, if we changed that around, or if we came on 80% of those games, we would have been talking about maybe finishing in the top 2. You understand what I'm saying? So, yes, we're at the bottom of the table, but I mean, put those little key moments together, we could have easily been sitting on top.
Okay, I would have come to Shikhar Dhawan himself in the next question. So, Sam Curran was the captain for a major part of this season. So, how would you compare Curran and Shikhar Dhawan, their styles of captaincy? How was it playing under both of them? How is it playing under both of them?
Yeah, look, I mean, I didn't play a game under Shikhar, but I mean,
Shikhar,
I experienced him in the changing room and his presence that he brought to the team. It's one where it's like commands respect, because he gives out respect, and it's a high standard. He's a phenomenal guy to be around in the changing room, whether he's captain or not captain, because I played against him a couple of times, and you can always see the presence of Shikhar. Where with Sammy as well, he's still young, he's still learning his captaincy. He's actually done really well. I've got to commend him. He's done well this IPL, being put under immense pressure at the IPL, the biggest stage in the world. So he's done really well when it comes to that. So it's still one where he's learning his trade, and Shikhar is he's got tons of experience. So it's a little bit unfair to compare the two, I feel. But in saying that, I still think Sammy's done an excellent job here at Punjab.
Okay. Now, this interview wouldn't be over without speaking about the 2 guys who, with their death overs batting, have been making news in India, Ashutosh and Shashank. What do you think about these 2 guys? What do they bring to the team?
I think Smackatosh.
That's a nice thing.
He's been really, really good this year. Even off the field, he's been like smiling and giving a lot of energy towards the team, and that's something that you don't always experience with like newer-ish players making their mark on the game. They're rather they're introverted. They don't say much. They talk with the bat, but like Ashutosh has been complete opposite. He's been really extroverted. He's enjoyed himself. He's loving the IPL. So that's good to see that a guy that's come in and striking at 200 in domestic levels brought that to the IPL. It's a fresh look on things, and that's that fearlessness that we've been speaking about throughout this whole interview. It's just shining through Ashutosh, and it's fantastic for Shashank. I think he's a class of his own. He's been playing superbly well in the IPL. His demeanor on the field is unbelievable. It's so cool and calm and collected, and he knows exactly what he wants to do and where he wants to hit his shots. It's been really good to see from my perspective. I mean, I've played a couple of games in my life, and coming to see this man has come to the IPL and taken it by storm. It's been so good to see. He's such a good human being, and it's even better, I want to say. Like, he's just a phenomenal guy to be around. He's a very cool and calm, collected guy.
Wonderful. Okay, for my last question, I'll shift back to talking about both T20 and international cricket. players like Trent Bolt and closer home, Quinton de Kock, they have said that they would like to prioritize, playing in T20 leagues over international cricket for various reasons. Would you agree with this line of thought?
Look, I think at the end of the day, playing international cricket is still the goal you want to do as a professional cricketer, whether it be cricket, whether it be in rugby or soccer or whatever it might be. Playing for your country is your biggest honor that you can do and represent. It's a way of finding that balance of playing international and playing T20, where I feel like a football, for instance, soccer does it really well, where
Yes.
they have their kind of like set schedules, and that's when they play their leagues, and that's when they play the international breaks. So
Yes.
I think if cricket can evolve into something like that, we won't even have this conversation. Where
Absolutely. Yeah.
where
Speaking
at the
about
moment,
it.
20 league with money makes a big difference, because at the end of the day, I mean, I got to put bread and milk on my table back home,
Yeah.
and how am I going to do that? So it's a job as well, but it's a way of finding that balance of having that schedule of playing the leagues and international cricket. That would be perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a great interaction. And I'm done with my questions.
Yeah,
Have
perfect.
a very nice day. Yeah.